Still getting used to it. All right. So, I am Coach Nikki Cates, and this is your unmasking session for this week. I want to start out with explaining to you what exactly do I mean by unmask if you're not familiar. And when we talk about unmasking, we're talking about recognizing the lies that we have been told, either telling ourselves or society has told us, or if you're a believer, what the enemy has told us, or what other people have told us based off their own projections or insecurities. We are bringing those lies out into the open so that we can stop hiding behind this mask of what others expect of us. Meaning, learning how to live authentic, regardless of suppression or oppression. Okay, for me, most of my work is focused on oppressive systems. How do we come out from under those oppressive systems? Well, there's a term called freedom, and freedom is like, you know what freedom is. You're physically able to do something, right? You're free of whatever that was hindering you from doing X, Y, and Z. But liberation starts here and here. It starts in your soul. It starts in your thoughts. It starts in how you're allowing your thoughts to lead your feelings. It starts with how you master yourself. How are you able to manage those emotions? Are you able to monitor those thoughts? Are you able to push past what's difficult to get to the other side? Because that's what it takes, right? If we're going to come out from under oppressive systems, we have to be, good morning, welcome. If we're coming out from under oppressive systems, whether that be racism, sexism, misogyny, if you're a believer, then that would be a spiritual oppression. If we're coming out from under oppressive systems, there has to be a level of awareness and it has to be a level of mastery. And so that's what the UNMASK framework is about. And so we're going through each letter of the UNMASK framework that I created last week. Let me see, we did N, which is nurture. And you all were supposed to be adding 10 minutes to your calendars, schedule 10 minutes for 7 days just for yourself. Or was it 5 minutes? I don't remember. You were scheduling time for yourself every single day. Oh yeah, it was 10 minutes a day and 30 minutes for the week. So I'm curious, as you all hop on here, or if you're watching the replay, did you do that and how did it go and what did you spend that time doing? I'm curious. I want to know if you took the time to nurture your energy and nurture your mental, really. Like, did you give yourself time to decompress? Did you give yourself time to understand why you're feeling how you're feeling? I just want to know. Told you I was going to ask. All right. So this week, we're actually going to be talking about mastering. That's the M, master. And what do we mean when we say master? When we say master, we are not talking about a control freak. Okay. Let's just be clear on that. We are not talking about being a control freak when we say master. And I really did just jump right on in there, y'all, but that's okay. All right. I wanted to make sure I pulled up our practice for today. So mastering, when you're mastering, you're building spiritual and emotional intelligence so that you can control. So the control can loosen its grip. Because can I just tell y'all, when we're trying to control everything, we're actually very insecure and we're operating out of fear and anxieties. We can't control anything outside of here, outside of ourselves, not just me, you too. You can't control anything outside of yourself. You can try. You can manipulate as much as you can, situations, people, circumstances, but how many of us can really admit that we cannot control other people? We can't control our government. We can't control politicians. We can't control bosses or coworkers. We can't control business partners or clients or customers. We can't control constituents. We can't control our spouses or our significant others. We can't control our children. We can't control our parents or our siblings. We cannot control. We build ourselves up into thinking that we can control. And when we do have a false sense of control, you may be controlling on a surface level, but are you truly controlling a person? What they think about you, what they feel about you, what they pray about you, what they say about you, are you really controlling them? No, I guarantee you you're not, because we cannot control our external. But we focus so much on trying to master the external, and we avoid what really matters, which is what's going on in here and here. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about master. The very first step of that, y'all, which was a game changer for me, was accepting what I can change and accepting what I can't. Accepting what I can control and accepting what I can't. And that is vital, y'all, to peace and being unbothered in any condition of the world. Okay? That is the epitome of it. So I want you all to keep that in mind. Good morning. If you're just hopping on, welcome. I am Coach Nikki Cates, and we are talking about the UNMASK framework this morning. I am a strong believer in grounding yourself first thing in the morning. That's why I do these early in the morning, so we can talk about how to ground your day, okay, and your week. So this morning we're talking about realizing what we cannot control and taking ownership of what we can control, okay? That's the key right there, y'all. So, we're not going to do the practice yet. I have not figured out yet how I can interact at the same time as being on here, and I feel like it's going to be too much and it's going to throw me off track, and we only got 30 minutes. So, be nice in the comments, please. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so what our primary outcomes for today are going to be is we're going to talk about a 60-second reset, okay? And I'm going to provide scripts. Now, granted, I did not do what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to set these scripts up to be signed up for and mailed out. So I will make sure I have that. If you want the scripts, please message me and tell me you were on the live and you want the scripts. I'm telling you to say that because I've gotten into the habit of not really checking my messages unless it's somebody close to me, because y'all be tripping. All these men hopping in the DMs, y'all need to stop, okay? It's not a true lasting love connection. Just stop. I am married. Okay. So, like we said, we are here this morning to figure out how to master what's ours and release what's not. Okay? That's powerful. Do y'all realize how powerful that is? Let's just think of it this way. Mostly I coach women. So let's say, as a woman, good morning, as a woman, can I truly control what my children do or what my husband does? They may give me a sense of control because I have manipulated all of the circumstances surrounding them. But am I genuinely and truly controlling them? Am I? Are we truly controlling our politicians when we threaten not to vote for them? Are we truly controlling a business when we say, I'm not buying with you? On the surface, it may feel that way. But have you really won in the end? If I get my adult child to do something, because I'm going to say adult, because as kids, we are the authority figure, and we could use small children, younger children as an example. We may get them to do it on the surface, but are they resenting us beneath the surface, or do they understand that we are loving them and we're doing it because we love them. I'm trying to drive home this fact that we no longer have to grasp for control. That is what burns us out, okay? We need to master what is ours and release what is not. Say it with me. Master what is ours, release what is not. Master what is mine and release what is not. Master what is yours and release what is not. All right, that'll be $150 for the hour of coaching. Now let me stop. Seriously. That right there will give you a mindset today of being unbothered. Heck, for the rest of the week, if you keep reminding yourself about it. Master what's yours and release what's not. But the key here is awareness. Understanding what is yours and letting go of what's not. I'm in the habit now of saying that's above me. And most of everything that bothers me right now in my life is above me. You know what's not? Clocking my thoughts. When I start replaying arguments with my husband, replaying crap I heard on TV or on TikTok that really pisses me off, replaying times where I felt like I could have did better and that time is past. I can't do nothing about it now. I can do that. I can sit with myself first thing in the morning and say, okay, why am I feeling like this? Is this regular depression that I know that I have to live with, or that I'm working through living with and managing? Not have to, Lord forgive me. Or why is my hip hurting like that? Do I need to make an appointment? Pay attention, y'all. We talked about this last week. You have to pay attention to you because no one else is going to do it for you. And if they do, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be anything, you're not going to receive it as anything but critical. See about yourself, okay? All right, so why control is not safety. Control is not safety, y'all. We like to think it is, and we become hyper-vigilant about it. And we become people pleasers because of it. And we shoot for perfection because of it. But where does it get us to master control? Strong Black woman? Maybe? Where does it get us when we have control? Burnout. And I'm going to remind y'all, as a burnout recovery coach, burnout is not just a thing that happens. Burnout is actually a thing that you work towards, right? First, you're not dealing with the frustrations that have you in a tizzy. Then the stress continues to pile on because you're already in this space of frustration. Then you begin to lose the energy, the mental capacity, and you begin to fall into burnout. And now you have to dig yourself out of burnout and start all over again. I know what this looks like because it was me. Majority of my adult life till now. Maybe even in my teens. So, I want you to accept that we don't chase the external. We align the internal. We don't control. We choose. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Jot it down. We don't chase the external. We align the internal. We don't control. We choose. What are we choosing? We're choosing to acknowledge that I can't change that, so let me not give it my energy. I can't change them, so let me not give it my energy, right? If you're at a job and you spend your days from the time you are walking in the door to the time you are waiting to walk out at that last second, and you're spending that time grumbling, angry, annoyed, frustrated, burned out, can't stand being there. Do you have a choice that doesn't matter? Do you have a choice to look for another job? Do you have a choice to start or prepare for a side hustle to help you to leave that job? Because maybe if you did those things, then you wouldn't be as miserable because you wouldn't feel trapped, right? Now, granted, I'm in the camp that I feel like some people just are miserable. But I also know from my own experience that how we think about it when we walk in that door makes a huge difference in how we perceive it as we're there. I was in the restaurant industry for a little while when I moved to DC. And it wasn't for me. And I made myself miserable in the process of knowing this is only part of my process, right? It's a season in my journey, but I made myself miserable in the process. Instead of remembering this is a season, seasons change. What can I get from this and what can I do to get out? So what did I do? I started studying for my real estate license to find another out. So I encourage you, good morning, welcome. I encourage you to think about where you can stop complaining, stop seeking to control or manipulate, and start aligning, one, if you are a believer, with who God truly says that you are. Because if you are who God truly says that you are, which you are, you just have to know it, then you are the head and not the tail. You are above only and never beneath. You are blessed in the city and blessed in the field. You're made in his image. You are his masterpiece. If God is with you, then nobody can stand against you. If that's who you are, and who you are, you know who you are authentically within yourself. I knew that was not the place for me. I knew that was not where I was meant to utilize my gifts and talents and experiences. But I was there to develop skills. I developed management and leadership skills in that space. I learned a whole lot when it came to leadership, which helps me today within what I do now. So keep that in mind, okay? We don't chase, we align. We don't control, we choose. And that takes awareness, okay? And that takes acceptance of what to let go and what to keep. We have to accept what we can change and what we cannot, okay? All right, so time is moving really fast. All right. I want to talk for a brief moment about a 60-second master reset. Okay? What does this entail? 3 steps. Name the lie or the story. For example, if I don't, everything falls apart. That's a lie, right? We like to think that. As a mother, I used to think that a whole lot. Good morning, welcome. So, in that moment, or here's a good one, since some of you may be headed to work that you can't stand. The lie is that I will be stuck and trapped in this forever. That's a lie. If you're in the United States, especially, I know we got some crap going on right now, y'all. So don't get me wrong. I know it looks janky, but there still may very well be a possibility. I can't imagine that there isn't a choice that could be made to find another job or to find an out eventually, right? So, name that lie or that story that you're telling yourself. And then I want you to breathe in. So you're going to do 4 and 6. Breathe in for 4, exhale for 6. Drop your shoulders, loosen them up. Take your tongue from the roof of your mouth, calm down. Relax into it and choose one tiny action that can become your truth. Okay? That is a 60-second master practice reset. And I want y'all to practice that. Start seeing the lies. We talked about that a couple weeks ago when we talked about unlearn. Unlearn the lies and begin to believe and accept and receive the truths. All right? Sometimes a truth is just, let me just set a boundary here. Sometimes the truth is, let me trade off another year at this job, but I'm preparing for how to move to another level or to transition out into X, Y, and Z. Sometimes it's, let me just take a moment, do some reflecting, do some research, and see how this situation can be different instead of just feeling trapped and accepting it. Okay? Again, I want you all to release what isn't yours and master what is. So I hope that was helpful for somebody. I only got a few more minutes left. I think we'll just go over the scripts the next time we hit M, because I did drop the ball on that. I did not get to those what I should have. So how does this work for at work, for leaders? Any leader that thinks that they can control everything that their team does or thinks or feels is delusional. And that means you have bigger problems than just needing self-mastery. Okay. I'm going to say it again. We cannot control the external. Let's say it the way I said it earlier. Y'all, I just feel this so deeply because I spent so much time trying to manipulate and control others around me in order to have a sense of false peace. Literally false peace. Why? Because beneath the surface, it was a brewing. Because they were resenting me for trying to control them. Or ultimately, you think you're controlling the external and then it blows up in your face. It just, you save money and you end up having to spend it. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. Sometimes it feels like, well, actually 2 steps forward, 10 steps back. Sometimes it feels like, but the breaker for me was figuring out what's mine to carry and what isn't. Honestly, that is everything I said today. That is like the foundation of it. And once you figure that out, then you can figure out where you need to focus your energy to master. And so as like we talked about last week, nurturing that time to foster our energy, our thoughts, our feelings, our relationships, specifically with yourself and with God is what I'm talking about right now. It's in that moment that you're able to say, that's not mine. Lord, take it. I have a habit of literally handing it to him when I'm praying because I'm like, I don't want this. I can't do anything with this. Whether it be a person, a fear, a situation, Lord, take it. I can't do nothing with that. What I can do is change the way I think about it. Change the way I speak about them or that situation. I'll be honest with y'all. I spent the better part of so far this administration's time in office, like everyone else, grumbling, complaining, making fun, maybe in not the meanest of ways like some of us do, or egging on those that are, especially here on TikTok. But what I had to remember, what the Holy Spirit had to remind me, is that's not God's will for us. I may not like them. I may see the wrong, but what can I do in this moment in time to make a difference? if someone else is hurting people that I love, and don't get me wrong, I grew up an army brat and I went in myself. I love America. I mean, where else can I reside? Yes, half of my being is African American, half of me is straight from the ships, and my family is from rural South Carolina. But if I go to Africa, I'm going to say when I go to Africa, they are not going to see me as a sister. If I go to the Philippines, because the other half of me is Filipina, if I go to the Philippines, they are not going to see me as a sister. Fun fact, I actually did find my Philippine family during the pandemic, my father. And needless to say, I don't know any more about that side of the family than I did before I found him. And I firmly believe that's because I'm half black. But it is what it is, because I love who I am, right? So, I can't do anything about that, y'all. All I can do is look in the mirror and love this person right here. But 5 years ago, it wasn't that easy for me to say that to you. So I'm only teaching what I know, y'all. All right. So, master. Notice the trigger before you spiral. Start to recognize those lies. Recognize the lies you're telling yourself. Recognize the lies that you're being told. Recognize what you're believing. When you begin to recognize them, you can begin to master in a way where you recognize that you're about to be triggered. If you know you're going to walk into work and you know that something is going to piss you off as soon as you get there, or just walking in and sitting down, it's going to throw you into a space. What can you do to make that better for yourself, healthier for yourself? Think about it. We give thoughts into everything else outside of us more than we give thoughts to ourselves. We be trying to problem solve and find solutions and strategize for everything but our own sanity. Being unbothered doesn't mean you don't care. Being unbothered means that your feathers are no longer ruffled by the things that don't truly matter. Okay? Choose wisdom over urgency. And we talked about this last week when we were talking about nurturing your energy, understanding what drains it and what fuels it. Choosing wisdom over urgency means, hi. Let's make sure I say hi to you all, and it pops up. Okay. Choosing wisdom over urgency means that you are intentional about things. You're not just flowing with the chaos and just letting it go, right? Let it flow, like Tony Braxton said. You can let it flow, but with wisdom. And what does that mean? That means not just knowledge, not just information, but true and genuine wisdom, which one comes from above, which comes from our Lord. Holy Spirit will give you wisdom and discernment if you ask. Some of us are still in this camp where we think that it may just be too small a thing to ask for help. No. The Spirit lives within you. Ask for help if you're not sure. Okay? And then also, just be intentional. What is my intention right now? Okay, that's my intention. Is this urgency matching that intention? If it's not, let me pump the brakes and figure out a better path. It's all about intention, y'all. It's all about paying attention, okay? And then you're acting from your values and not your fears. And as a life coach, I'm going to just remind y'all that if you don't know your core values, you really want to know your core values. Because every morning, you will begin to use those as guardrails. They will help you to understand why you're feeling a certain way and why you're not. When I begin to feel trapped, frustrated, boxed in, I have to go back to my core values and say, okay, one of these is not being met, and which one is it? If I'm feeling miserable and I stop long enough to pay attention that I'm feeling that, and I go back and look at my core values, 9 times out of 10, either I'm not being authentic in a situation, or I feel like that person is not being authentic, or I haven't had time with my Lord. Faith is my number one core value. My family's in an upheaval and in a mess. Family's my second core value. Self-care is one of my core values. Integrity, inner peace. These things are my guardrails, and they help me to remember not to act out of fear, not to act out of trying to manipulate other people or situations, but acting from a place of authenticity. So I say to y'all, as we get ready to hop off here, because it's past time, stop over controlling and start liberating. Remember, liberation starts here and here. I give y'all an example. I just wrote about this last week. What was it this week? It was this week, y'all. The Israelites, they were freed, but were they liberated? And the answer is no, they were not. Look at when they got out, the trauma that they were dealing with, their trauma responses, how they were acting. And then they didn't even get to the other side, right? Because God was like, look, y'all had plenty of opportunities to heal and to repent and to get right. So keep that in mind, okay? There is a difference. And if you're looking for a quote unquote space of freedom in your life, financial freedom, time, freedom, flexibility, whatever, just remember that what's going on here and here makes the most difference, okay? All right, so say it with me now. I don't control, I choose. I don't chase, I align. I don't control, I choose. I don't chase, I align. You guys, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope that this helped you with your morning grounding. I hope you can walk into your job with your head held high, or if you're just working from home like I used to, you can log on to Teams and not just put on a face, a mask, or armor, and genuinely show up as yourself, hopeful, knowing that you are working towards your own liberation, okay? Now, if you need help with establishing those core values, you can do that with, I have a 5-day unmasked reflection guide that is available on my Sand store. If you will go to the link in my bio and click, you will be able to get access to that. And that walks you through not just your core values, but just a self-discovery process in general, where you can do some assessments, obviously work through learning and understanding your core values. You can do a wheel of life, all of these coaching tools that we use to help people to really connect with who they are authentically. Okay. And then, of course, spending time with the Lord and understanding the lies that you've believed, that you've been told, and what His truth says about them. Okay? All right. Well, that's it for this week, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching the replay, please go and download the guide and work through it, and let me know how I can help you. And let me know. I'm going to be asking y'all next Wednesday morning if you were able to master yourself a bit better than you did before. All right. This is Coach Nikki Cates, and y'all have a fantastic day. Be blessed and peace.